Hey guys, welcome to Starting Out Solitary. My name is Matt. I'm your Monday host, and this week we're talking about being a teen or a child pagan and having disapproving parents. This is a really tough situation. This is a really tough, just overall thing to talk about, especially in our community where sometimes being who we want to be and being who we are, we can get completely, it can be just, people can just disapprove of it without really knowing what it is and without really wanting to understand what it is. And so it's just a really tricky situation overall. So I'm going to go into my experiences with being a child or a teen pagan, and then I'm going to sort of give my 2 cents on what you can do or whatever, but it's maybe gonna be what you don't want to hear. So I grew up in a Christian household. I think several others on this channel have also grown up Christian. But the difference between me and a lot of YouTube pagans that I see talking about this type of thing, growing up in a Christian household or just a different non-pagan household, my experience, the way it differs, is that I really never drank the Christianity Kool-Aid. To me, every time I was in church, it felt like one big theater. I felt really confused. I didn't trust what people were saying. I just, it always seemed to me like the best way I can describe it was like, okay, I'll play along, but, I think we all know that this is just not it. And maybe they did it, but I definitely surely did know. From as long as I can remember being a Christian, I never felt comfortable. I never felt welcomed. I never felt like I was jiving with anything that was being said. And I always just kind of did my own thing, honestly. And I never really knew what was going on. This was before the internet where you could just log in and see things like, Starting Out Solitary, the channel where people openly talk about paganism. I really just kind of lived it. And I think as soon as I could really sort of stand up for myself, as soon as I became a teenager, when I was like 12, 13, I started saying, I'm not going to church. I'm not going, and I really put my foot down in my household, and I did have to deal with several different, I did have problems with that. My parents were not happy with me. They were not happy. They would drag me out to church, and then I put my foot down, and I said, I'm not going. And then when I was like around 12, 13 really, is when I stopped going to church pretty much completely. Sometimes I would go like, on holidays, on Easter, New Year's, things like that. But other than that, I was not participating in any type of church activities or Christian activities. And my parents are still upset about this till this day, particularly my mom, but I think she understands, and that's really important. So as much as I want to tell you, go you, fight the power, fuck your parents, like, live your life, like, this is what you gotta do, you gotta just stick to it, I don't know what type of repercussions that could have on your life and if it can make it harder for you to be who you are. So I could just be like, you know what, go tell your parents you're pagan right now, start putting up pentacles on your door and do all this and that. That could totally work for you if you think it could work for you, but my honest to God advice to you is to know your situation before you try to do anything that's way too rash. I don't know, you could be living somewhere where, if you were to say something like, I'm a pagan, that no matter how much you try to explain, no matter how much you try to tell people that this is, you're not a devil worshiper, and it's a good thing that we had the topic of the earlier videos of Subsweek talking about devil and Satanism and paganism, why people get them confused. And several people touched on this. There's God, and then there's everything else. And sometimes, and I'm talking about particularly like Christian faith, which is from what I know. There's God, and then there's everything else. And that doesn't matter if you're following Buddhism. It doesn't matter if you're following a combination. It doesn't matter if you're saying you're pagan. It doesn't matter if you're saying you're atheist. In the church, you're going to be taught that there's God, and then there's like everything else. And that's all devil. Everything's a devil. The world is a devil. And that's like something that I remember hearing a lot. It was like the world is the devil. Everything from the world. I heard the world more than I did the devil when I was growing up. But going back to what I was saying, I don't know what type of implications that could have on your life. So let's say if you go up to your mom and your dad and you say, Mom, Dad, I'm pagan, you know, they could end up, you know, bringing out an exorcism on you, you know, chaining you to the bed or something. I don't know your life, you know, that could be so far from your reality that you could just tell your parents that you're pagan today. No matter how Christian they are, they're going to accept you, you know. But I also don't know if, you know, that type of thing could happen to you where you could, you know, get kicked out of your house or something. You could get disowned. I don't know what type of life you live. So really, my advice to you is to know the situation you're in. If you're pagan, you're pagan. That's it. Like, there's no getting around that. And you're going to be pagan no matter what, you know. So don't worry about your faith diminishing. Don't be scared that you're not living your truth, because if you feel you're pagan and you are pagan, you're pagan. If you're Wiccan, I can't really say anything other than that. Like, but if you're pagan and if you're like me, who, you know, is very fluid with their faith and stuff, and you know, you can kind of pull and take from everything. I pull and take from Christianity also. It's not, you know, it's not out of my range. But as much as I want to be all fight the power, fuck everything, fuck everyone, fuck your parents, fuck the police, you know, live your life, I don't know what type of implications that could have on your life. So I really don't want to, you know, have that be my platform. If you can do that, that's great. But if you can't, you know, I would just say hold off. Keep it to yourself. Keep it to people who you can trust. If you can't trust anybody, keep it to yourself. You know, being online is a really safe space. There's several people here on this channel even who are not super open about who they are, you know, for whatever reason, for whatever type of implications that could have on their life. And that's okay, because they have us, you know. We're here and we're open to talk about what this all means. And that's beautiful. So I fully support you and your paganism, even if people close to you might not support you. And I just want to tell you to stay strong and to keep doing what you do and keep aligning yourself to the future that you want to have, which probably means that you know, want to express your spirituality more openly. This is a tough one. This is a really, really tough one. But I hope I did this topic justice. And happy 4th of July to everybody. I live on the street where the fireworks happen, so if I keep looking away, it's because there's a bunch of people crossing the street, and there's a bunch of people like walking to the place where the fireworks are gonna be at, and there's gonna be so many people. Parking is gonna be impossible. This is one of the days I dread of the year. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope I did this topic justice. It's a really tough one, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Peace.